Good evening. It's 5:30 on Monday, December 1st, and I will call to order the meeting of the Shelburne Select Board. Our first item on our agenda is the approval of minutes. Our last meeting was November 17th. Rod, have you had time to review those?
I have. I
Any?
see. I'm fine with the way they are.
I have reviewed them as well, and I'm fine with them. Do we have a motion to approve?
I make a motion we approve.
It's been moved. I will second. Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing
Nope.
none, we'll put the matter to a vote. Rod?
Aye.
I am aye. Motion passes 2-0-0. Liaison reports. Do you have anything for us tonight, Rod?
I met with Tom at emergency management and Bob Crowley at the Cowell Gym. And there's one other guy. His name escapes me from the state. We viewed the Cowell and what we needed to do to make that a warming center or emergency center, and came up with some really good narratives, and Tom is going to pursue a lot of stuff. And
Right?
other than that, I think that's it. Joe will be back tomorrow. He's off today.
Yep.
And other than that, that's it.
Terrific. Police Services Advisory Committee from me. We have the unanimous vote of the group to recommend the 3-year intermunicipal agreement be renewed. That'll come up later in our agenda, so we'll let that sit. Police Department, second annual Stuff the Cruiser toy drive is this Saturday, the 6th. It's going to be at Apex Orchard on Peckfield Road from 10 to 2. Bring new unwrapped toys, all of which go to local area children. There'll be barbecue, fire trucks, displays, and more. Um, I'd also like from the police department to pass on a reminder of the winter parking regulations now in effect, given that tomorrow might be the first snow accumulation day that we're going to have. So on Facebook, the police department had posted the map that shows safe parking spaces in the village area, but there's no on-street parking, of course. They can get all that information on the website, the town website as well. Uh, my last liaison report, Franklin Regional Transit Authority Advisory Board. Our quarterly meeting was held November 20th. No significant actual transit matters were handled, but discussion on the pending employer health insurance problems was held. The stability of the current local trust has dropped from about $30 million level 2 years ago to about $2 million. So obviously, it's raising some concern, and it was revealed that the COG, through which the Transit Authority gets its insurance, is actively looking to other sources as new carriers. And Shelburne, like every other town, is kind of just waiting to see what makes sense and what happens. There's not a whole lot we can do about it at this point. But it's something that's affecting all levels of municipal and regional governments. Uh, no Andrew is yet, so we'll move on to old business. Old business being the Pocket Park project update, and I think we've all had a chance, perhaps except for Terry, to drive by it and see that our contractor, Dick Hillman, came in with a crew, spent 3 days, had planned to do it in two, but he ended up doing a great job, took his time, didn't rush it, um, got 3 days work, got all the grading and the leveling done, the pathways in, did a great job. And I believe tomorrow Andrew has joined us, and I believe tomorrow Andrew's going to meet with people to discuss the potential for plantings come next spring after we get a final number from Dick Hillman for the work he did and an estimate from the seating benches. We'll know what we've got left for the actual plantings. So uh, Andrew has joined us. Andrew, I'll bring you up quick to speed and give you your time for your liaison reports. We are going to try to um, push through tonight's meeting in a prompt fashion in respect for Terry's recovery time, and we'll just keep at it. So we have approved minutes. Rod and I have done our liaison reports, and you're up for one.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I did speak with Jeff Johnson this afternoon, and he and the crew have pretty much been getting ready for the kind of weather we're expecting tomorrow. So
Mhm.
um, they've got the vehicles prepped, washed, dried, and undercoated. They've getting the little tractor in place for George to do the sidewalk work tomorrow and Wednesday. Um, and got salt and sand in place and also on order. And they finished building the leaf vacuuming box, which is no longer needed this year, but they've finished up with the leaf blowing and that'll be ready for next year. Um, he said they did have some difficulty moonlight magic night trying to pre-treat and salt, and you might have noticed some extra salt around, but that was in part just difficulty with the equipment and with all the double parking in town made it hard to get around. But they snow is expected, I think, 7 a.m. to midnight tomorrow.
Mhm.
Um, so I believe the blue light is on, and Jeff said he would turn it on this evening on his way through. Um, and he's got the extra help. He's calling in Jay Sporon and others, George, for the to be on tap for tomorrow. So I think we're pretty ready. Um, one unfortunate incident that Jeff reported to me was that on Old Greenfield Road yesterday, I guess there was a Werner transportation semi truck that uh, tried to round a corner and ripped out our some of our new guardrail. So Jeff is going to photograph that tomorrow and follow up with them. And unfortunately, the person didn't stop to try to address that situation, but we will try to follow up with them. Um, and Jeff is also talking with Terry Walker, our grant writer. Apparently, there is funding available for culvert replacement, and we have two culverts, one on Stoddard Road, which is sort of being held up with some pre-treated lumber, and another on the north-south road, which goes up by the Flaccus's old place, the blueberry farm. Um, and both of those need culvert work. So we'll see if we can be successful with grants. They did have a debrief on the Mass Works grant that we got sort of deferred on, and hopefully we can go back in again for that bridge work assembling of grants. Um, and and we're going to try to connect with Terry Walker on the sewer commission's work on the pump station. So we'll see if she's interested in that. We haven't yet had a conversation with her about that, but that's all I've got for now. I think the library is on a bit of a pause because the main person doing research on that side, Brianne, is going on maternity leave, so that may we may not reconvene until January or so. But that's all I've got for the moment.
Terrific. Thank you very much. I see John Walsh is on, unmuted. We're 5 minutes early, but not being a public hearing. Let's get to you, John. And you sent a communication on November 19th, which we all have in front of us, that you had sent to the vendor regarding the uh, insulated shade project at Cowell Gym. You want to give us a thumbnail of what is happening and what your request is, sir?
Oh, sure, but I would like to bring up the fact that I have invited the contractor to participate at 5:45.
Then if you'd
Um,
like to wait, I'll be glad to.
I would prefer to wait till then, please.
No problem. Um, Hill Cemetery, is that something we're going to be able to deal with in a reasonably prompt manner? You've we met with the committee, Joe, and a couple of other members of the cemetery commission, rather, I think it is, reviewed all their proposed changes. Andrew actually had several things that he felt should be tweaked and modified, and you've had in your packet since last week the updated, actually even before that, I guess, all of the changes that you had suggested there, Andrew. I think they're all in blue. Um, should put this into a position where we ought to be able to act on it tonight. The commission obviously did put those changes in a meeting and voted to approve it for recommendation to us as is. Um, they've put a ton of work in it, and has this satisfied everybody?
Um, Question, Rick.
Yeah.
Um, just I'm trying to find the spot here where it talks about snow. Um,
It's on page 2.
One, two.
New burial costs effective 4/15/26.
So those prices include snow?
Snows, yes.
Snows. Okay. Because the suggestion I made that apparently has not yet been implemented is what is the time range in which these prices are effective?
It starts April 15th, as it says, 2026, but it does reference that, Andrew,
Where
about
does it say that?
somewhere in the rules and regulations about um, fee schedules, which will be reviewed every 2 years.
Okay, good.
Yep.
I just want to make sure that that wasn't just a number hanging out there that would go out of date and nobody would know what the real price was.
Definitely heard you, and I had a list of the things that you asked for, and I checked, and it's all there. So,
Fantastic. Okay, I just wanted to make sure we had covered that
yep,
base there. All
yep.
right.
And I think those were really the primary things. But it's a boatload of work that they put in and come up with a pretty comprehensive document, in my opinion. So if everybody's comfortable, we'll look for a motion to approve the Hill Cemetery. What would we call the first page? Overview and rules and regulations.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Do we have any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll put the matter to a vote. Andrew?
Aye.
Rod?
Aye.
And I am I. Motion passes 3-0-0. Very good. Did you want to add anything with regard to the pocket? We did under old business Pocket Park already. I think you came in while I was explaining that you were going to meet tomorrow, and the outline.
Yeah, I have to confirm with Kay, but I'm open to meeting tomorrow if she's available,
Yes, she
and I
responded.
have
But
a
She did
I
respond
haven't.
at 11:30.
Oh, she did respond. Okay,
Yes. Yeah.
good. I was out of town. I was in Greenfield, so I'm just getting home.
Yeah.
Um, and I did send another reminder to Johanna, so hopefully she will respond with her pricing for the slate or the Ashfield stone. I mean, uh,
She would really have to go back and take some new measurements, I would think, because the the slope from top to bottom is fairly substantial. And when you look at it on a flat piece of paper, you kind of say, what's that really going to look like when you get in there and start digging and terracing off? So he had to put in extra retaining wall blocks in the upper one in order to maintain the grade that backs up to the Foxtown building. And then that left short the next row down. So I think he brought in 4 or 5, might have been a half dozen more blocks that he had trucked in blocks to extend that one out so that we got a nice terracing. So I think she couldn't give you a new quote without going over there and looking at where you want them to be capped.
yeah, we'll see. I mean, I think part of it is whether, the quote she gave us 2 years ago was pretty generous. What her update will be, we might not be able to buy all the bench caps we need, but we'll buy what we can and put them in and then go from there.
Terrific.
Um, but yeah, no, I think that the need for the extra blocks was primarily um, resulted from Dick's determination that we should leave the lowest course of blocks in place to keep the slope stabilized. Because the original plan that we had designed with Kay was to take those out and move them up the hill. But I guess Dick made his own landscaper's decision about what made more sense and decided to leave those where they were. So that's mainly why we needed extra blocks.
Okay, great. Yeah, I went up and watched him for those 3 days periodically. He's a magician with that machine. And interestingly, the blocks have to go in upside down,
Hmm.
have a flat surface for the capstones to go on. Right side up, they have that wedge shape plus a rebar loop that they could normally just pick them up and place them. But
Hmm.
watching him push them around upside down and get them right exactly where he wanted, uh, I think he's run that machine once or twice. So he did
Yeah,
it.
I was really pleased. I thought he did an excellent job, and we're lucky to have him.
Yes.
Terry, did I see your hand up?
Yeah. I noticed a boulder at one end. Was that something they unearthed and put at the end?
Yes, he actually unearthed a whole bunch and took a truckload of them away, but he thought that the grade as it was tapering down towards the pavilion kind of needed something less abrupt, and he used it kind of as a visual step down.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Terry, one conclusion we came to while you were out, I think, was that the original plan of calling for shrubs along the steep hill didn't really make sense to us in terms of winter snow and stuff like that. It just seemed like they were probably going to get wrecked.
I agree.
Yeah.
Great. Excellent. John, I don't see your representative from the company here. Should we give him a little more time and go on?
No, it's not unexpected. The
Hmm.
reason I am here tonight is because as most of 2 or 3 of you know, I'm Mr. McBride, I don't know you, I'm John Walsh. Um, we awarded Window Depot of Boston the contract to install the energy efficient window shades that we received a grant from Mass CEC. The contract was signed in early spring. Uh, as is this moment, the shades have not been installed, and I would like to terminate the contract per our agreement, which states that the town may terminate in writing the agreement for non-performance of services required, including the progress of work for services. Town may terminate the contract for convenience and written notice. Um, I have been trying since at least July, to get samples of the type of shades that we specified. He never provided those to me. I was always working the assumption that he was going with energy efficient cellular shades, and we had discussions about the type of color they should be and the darkness. He was going to send me a sample, never did that. Finally, on another project, they did the windows in the basement and the attic. And I finally started pushing because there was still one that hadn't been installed. And then that was on November 10th, after starting that project back in the spring. So I sent him I've been communicating mostly through email with him, or voicemail rather, and as well as text messages. I've sent at least 18 different text messages since early October, late October rather, and I probably have a whole other 20 of them someplace that disappeared from my iPhone. So the last response when they finally did show up to start installing the shades, I had left them alone, went back, and as soon as I saw the type of shades they were installing them, I told the contractor, the foreman that was there, that those were not the shades that we had requested. Um, I then spoke with the contractor, the president of the company, Mr. De Silva, and he was going to send me an updated list of what his proposal was, and that was on October or November 10th, and I haven't heard a word since. I have so that I would like your permission to actually proceed with terminating the contract.
I think you're well within your rights, seeing how he's been basically ghosting you, as they call it today, and had the opportunity, advance notice of this meeting, and chose not to come. So I would think that's a definitely reasonable request. Do we have a motion to support that?
I'll move that we authorize John Walsh to terminate the contract for the window shade project.
Second that.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll put the matter to a vote. Andrew?
Aye.
Rod?
Aye.
And I am aye. Motion passes 3-0-0. John, we owe you a debt of gratitude again for your diligence and attention to detail and pushing this project ahead. And unfortunately, sometimes vendors aren't what they think they should be or what we think they should be. And we'll figure out what to do next.
If I just looking forward, I did speak with Mass CEC about the Green Communities Grant this morning. After this vote, I will put together a memo to send to them and Terry to verify that the fact is we have several options at this point. One is to go back out to rebid. We could terminate the grant and return any unspent funds that we haven't used. And I need to dig a little deeper as to if that includes, the contract says that the contractor is allowed to charge for reasonable services. I think at this point, the only reasonable service is the labor that they did to actually install the wrong shades. I wouldn't have authorized the fact that they actually didn't get the right shades. So to me, that's on them. I have had reached out to a couple of other suppliers. They are interested. We'll have to go out to rebid because the amount is going to be over $10,000. My thought is, after we get an accounting of what is left in the fund, the one option is to actually eliminate the mechanized part of the shade, which would probably reduce the cost significantly in order to not have to expend town funds if we decide to move forward with the project. If we do that, we would have to go to town meeting for approval of the additional funds. Is my opinion, my perspective. I don't know if that's correct or not, but I would still hope that one of the additional vendors I spoke with said that he could probably once he was awarded that bid, could probably have them in stock within 6 weeks and then installed shortly after that. So we should still be able to get them in before the end of winter. Um, Theoretically, I can't make any
Right.
promises on that.
Thank you for
Um,
chasing it, and I'd hate to give the grant money back if we can uh, get that done. As you say, even if we have to make a concession of them not being mechanized. So thank you again for pursuing it and keep us posted.
Will do. Thank you for your support.
Thanks,
Yeah,
John.
Andrew. Andrew,
Rick?
do you?
Andrew?
Yeah, I do have a question. In John, when we spoke, maybe I don't know if I heard you correctly or not, but I thought I heard you say that um, we missed um, some storm windows that are needed on those windows. Is that true or not?
Unfortunately, as many times as I've been looking at that building over the last 2 years, I never picked up the fact that the outside storm windows, which are in panels, and there appears to be 3 panels per window, so that's 30 times 10, 3 times 10, 30 panel windows. At least 20 or more of them are missing. So in effect, they're doing nothing. Um, and I think as a maintenance thing, that should probably be addressed.
Okay. I was flagging it for two reasons. One, I wasn't sure where the storm windows were located and whether or not replacing them would intersect with these new window shades, but it sounds like they're on different sides of the window, right?
Correct. The storms, each panel has 2 pieces to it. So it's 2, 4, 6. It's actually 6 panels, 6 units per window. So there's 60 of them in total because there are 10 windows in the gym and they're on the outside.
Okay.
And
So that's just something I was just concerned that it might intersect with this in terms of order of operations, but it sounds like not. So I would just recommend that we keep that on your list and flag it as a capital project for the future and see how we might address that gap in our insulation coverage.
absolutely, I was planning on trying to get a piece of it off and bringing it down to Greenfield Glass to see what it would cost to replace them. It looks like they're plexiglass and not glass themselves. They'd probably been there well before any of our time, so I have no idea how they're set, but they're set in with window attachments that just kind of screw them in place, and you just attach them like a storm window inside a house.
Mhm.
So I don't think that would be all that expensive, but we may have to replace every section. And that's the thing that we would have to ask somebody to take a look at and see if they're fixable.
Okay.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks
you.
a lot, John.
Thank
Have a
you.
Sure.
Great. Terry, did you have a question? Okay. Um, all right. We are down to
Sorry, Rick, I'm sorry, I do have one last question. Do I need to work with Terry to create the letter informing them that we're terminating the contract with the vendor?
Yeah, John, I will put something, I mean, you and I can collaborate. I'll put it on town letterhead and we'll get it out.
Okay, thank
I
you.
mean, you can certainly email them, text them, but they've been non-responsive for so long.
I know
A
it's
day or two
unfortunate.
won't hurt.
First time it's ever run into my career.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
all right.
Thanks, John.
All right, we're down to item 6, new business, renewal of the intermunicipal agreement for police services. Excuse me, as I've mentioned in my liaison reports for several months, that was a project of ours. The agreement calls for that to have happened um, approximately in December, and by golly, here we are. And so the advisory committee has had several meetings on it um, with input from the chief and our committee includes both the chairs of both town select boards, um, both representatives of both towns finance committee, plus the at-large, et cetera, as you may know. Um, and everybody's comfortable with the draft. Our final meeting or our last meeting was November 12th to put together the final draft. We sent that around. I think Terry sent it around to you as well on the following day, the 13th of November. This document's a little long, but the changes are few and far between, actually. Um, any questions that have come up from either Andrew or Rod that you'd like to question before we act on approving this?
I have nothing.
I do have a question.
Fire away.
In section 3I, the assessment portion of the document, there are a number of items that, what is it, 2, 3, 4, 7, and 8 are deleted.
Yes.
Those are all pretty much what does the police department do data collection items. And my question is if those are getting deleted from this report to the advisory committee, is who has oversight of that data? Who actually does the police chief report to?
Well, you're talking about on page 4. It doesn't.
Yes.
Okay, page 4, yes. So as it says, in the preface to that, the police chief shall provide both towns, and we deleted the word a monthly report, to insert reports at regularly scheduled meetings of the Police Services Advisory Committee.
Right.
There's the amount of reports that were in the original agreement have proven to not actually been practical to do a monthly report of that kind of work. There's police work that needs to be done. And I believe it also says somewhere else that requests can be made for specific things. But what the Finance Committee and uh, actually, it was a unanimous vote of the Services Committee, was that providing those reports to the towns through the Police Services Advisory Committee was prudent, and that these were the ones that we thought should be done regularly, and the others at request, upon request, as opposed to be put in a document as though they were a requirement to be met.
Okay. I mean, the reason I'm flagging it is that my past experience of being the police liaison is that those are kind of the data that reflect the work that the police department does from year to year. Not all the work, but a good chunk of the work in terms of service calls and traffic stops and vehicle pursuits and crime data and all of that stuff. Um, and that somebody from the select board should review that and compare it to the previous year and have a general sense of like what's the police department doing, you know?
Right.
And
Currently, that
and
would be
that to me should not get lost in this process. So I to me, I don't feel the need to review that more than annually, but not less than annually either. So I think that that would be my concern is that that be reviewed with the select board, um, perhaps at a minimum of annually and maybe at a maximum of annually.
And I agree that since this is a two-town agreement, there's a little difference between that and the liaison role of the Shelburne Select Board to the police department, since they are in fact our employees. And that is the liaison's responsibility to continue to receive those reports. But whoops, shut my light off. But to put it into the formal agreement, they felt was unnecessary at this point. Those other things are of interest, and the chief does share in his monthly, or I should say, in his regular report. We've been meeting monthly trying to get this agreement updated, but we've been lucky to do quarterly meetings after that. But we do get in-depth reports from the chief at each of our meetings. And like you said, it's the liaison's job to stay on top of these other matters. And when there's something of interest, the chief brings it up, discuss it, I'll bring it on to you or whoever succeeds me in that role as well.
Well, I would just say that to me, the logical place to review that kind of data is when the police chief is presenting his draft budget for the next year. And when he's proposing, this is how much staffing I think I need to cover the two towns, that would be based on the actual working experience of that staff, and the number of calls they've had to attend to and all that kind of stuff. So that to me is where I would want to see that reporting happen. Um,
hmm,
and so if the town of Buckland doesn't care about this kind of stuff, then that's fine to just report it to the Shelburne police liaison. But if the town of Buckland has a similar concern, then in terms of reviewing the budget and wanting to know that it's related to actual work, then they should have a right to have that data as well. But
absolutely. And I think that was the assumption that they made during the discussions was that that is all detail that we look at to justify budgets, manpower, et cetera, vehicles even. Um, and I don't know what to tell you. The group met repeatedly and felt comfortable with narrowing that list down for this particular document, not necessarily saying we don't ever want to know about any of this stuff. Terry, did you have a question or a comment?
I just wanted to remind you that Greg does report that annually in the annual town report, all the statistics for the year for his department.
yeah, I was just saying from a budgetary point of view, it would be more helpful to receive that information while we're forming the budget and not at the end of the year when we're reading about it in the town report.
Sure. I'm sure Rick could pass that on to Greg or I can.
I'll,
Okay.
I'll be happy to. And this
But
doc,
is that something that if this is a document that's describing what the responsibilities of the chief are to the two towns, should that not be written into this document somewhere, or is it a sidebar that is written somewhere else?
well,
I don't think what I'm saying is I don't think it should be just a Andrew thinks this is a good idea thing. I think it should be written down somewhere.
all right. The document does say, or the consensus is that the document clearly says um, or contains detail about the agreement of what the two towns agree to and to share. And the budget reference in this document is simply the split. And that's why those documents are at the end, which is what, 49.5% or something, the percent that Buckland pays. So there's no discussion of budgets other than the agreement to the split between the two towns. Beyond that, this document has nothing to do with the budget. The budget process then that gets developed and presented to the two towns um, for vote to be voted on is where all of that comes into play. So even though that's referenced in this document, and in fact, it will be helpful or required for budget preparation, the two aren't necessarily linked. Does that make any sense?
Um, yeah, if it would address my concern if there's a budget document in which it describes the responsibilities of the chief in developing the budget. And if one of those responsibilities is reporting all of that data that's being deleted here, then I'm good. But I think that it should be written down either here or there.
Hmm. I think that
And if it's not written down there, why not just write it here and say the chief will report annually during the budget process on 2, 3, 5, 8, and 9, or whatever those deleted items are.
That I think the people are considering that that's the the detail that would be in the duties of the police chief. We don't reference in that kind of detail the duties of the chief itself. There's a separate job description that,
Okay. Well, if it's written in the job description, then I'm good.
if it's not, we can put it there as
Okay.
we can put it there. I don't believe that it's critical to solve your concern in this document.
Okay. No, my concern is that it be in writing somewhere
Yep.
as a responsibility of the chief.
Yep. Can't argue it a bit. I
Okay.
agree with you. I just don't think that this is the document where it belongs.
Okay. Terry, are we able to then amend, if needed, the police chief's job description?
Absolutely.
Anytime, absolutely.
All right. Well, let's put it on next time's agenda, and we can not let that fall off our burners.
It's good by me. Um,
Great. So that was my only concern, that I wanted to make sure that that didn't slip off the radar entirely.
Terrific. Um, any comments, questions, concerns from you, Rod?
No, I'm good.
And do we have a motion to approve the final draft dated 11/12/25 of the intermunicipal agreement for police services between the towns of Shelburne and Buckland?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll put the matter to a vote. Rod?
Aye.
Andrew?
Aye.
I. Motion passes 300. I believe Buckland has already met and approved this document as well by their select board. And we've met the ask that the original agreement had to get this done within 6 months prior to the renewal date. New business item B. You have that brief note. This is an annual kind of jump through the hoops thing as far as I'm concerned a little bit. List of priority projects for Shelburne as I understand it. We've updated this twice. This will be the third time in my term. That's basically a wish list of areas that they keep in the event they find grant money that they can apply to a project for a town. It's not a list of things they're going to do. It's a list of things that if they find money that can do it, that it'll happen. So I've reviewed it as well. Any comments, questions, suggestions? I think the order of sequence item 1, 2, 3, and 4 on the graph is where we left it last year. I think item 3 is already happening. Oh, I'm sorry. I mixed up library with Cowell. Item 2, Cowell Gym energy efficiency members. Item 2, an emergency standby generator. Those are already being addressed aggressively.
The only one that could be, well, there are a number that could be added, but one that I don't know whether this fits in this bucket or not, because we're slightly different, but the Shelburne Sewer Commission's pump station replacement project is a pretty major piece of infrastructure that we are seeking grant funding for now. And any help the FERCog could provide in that direction would be greatly appreciated. But we are sort of got 1 foot in and 1 foot out of the town of Shelburne. So
Right.
I don't know if it goes on this list or not.
Do you have an estimate, Andrew, of what that cost would be?
It's about 1.4 million was the latest version we approved with Weston and Sampson.
Thank you.
Hmm. I do think they were more focused on town of Shelburne specific items, but
Right.
I would certainly
Well, given that we vote the sewer district's budget at the town meeting and their capital budget, it's sort of, again, sort of half in, half out.
right. We get a half of the vote, right?
Right.
Well,
And
if there's no suggested changes, we'll leave it as is. Is that what
I don't
I'm?
know. Did you think that makes sense to add that, Terry, or not?
I will definitely add it because this list is really for them if they come up with funding sources that may be helpful to us. I think that's the whole purpose. So,
So is this different from their what is it called? The economic the federal list of uh uh federally approved projects or whatever the I'm losing the
um,
name of that
I get the sense that they're just interested in what we might be looking for
okay.
funding. And if they can help us find the funding and maybe assistance writing the grant,
Okay.
they would let us know.
I mean, one other project that's kind of a longer term, or we're in debate about where it should fall in time, but replacing the pothole overlook deck is another fairly large capital project that, if there was grant money to support, would be welcome.
So if we add the pothole deck and the sewer district project, would we knock any of these off the list? I believe I don't see it in this year's letter, but as I recall last year or the previous years, they asked us for rate them 1 through 4 or 1 through 3, and we gave them 4. Um, as you
But we
see,
only get 4 priority projects.
right, there were 5, there were 6 on this year's list, but only 4 of them got rated because of that. Um, so I'm assuming we should reorder them and perhaps, I mean, Memorial Hall uh, renovations, I think that's important. The front of the building could certainly use work. The mortar missing, um, it, it's a little embarrassing to go into town hall and see the stonework and the brick work that could just with a nice facelift be improved. It it reflects poorly to me every time I go in and I see and I look either side. We got a beautiful ramp and steps, but look what it's up against. So I still like that one as number one. Maybe sewer district 2, pothole 3, and pick a fourth.
Well, the only comment I would make about solar is that we know pretty clearly where that funding is, and we just have to decide as a town whether we want to go after it, which
Right.
is that new um, climate leadership fund that you can get up to you can get $1 million from if you adopt the measures that they ask you to adopt, as Ashfield did. But that's kind of I don't that's pretty much right out there, so I don't know that we need to prioritize that.
Mhm.
It's just a question of whether the town wants to do it or not.
Well, if we get to rate 4, and off the top of my head, just for prompt discussion, I'm suggesting Memorial Hall, leave that rank number 1,
Hmm.
sewer district number 2 of the project, pothole deck number 3. What would you pick for number 4? Arms Library or Cowell Gym?
Um, I would say the Cowell Gym is a more quickly doable project from what John is describing, both in terms of energy efficiency and other renovations that we know we need to do on the back of the building. In particular, the Arms Library Windows project is an expensive project. You know, we last costed it out at close to $100,000, but
According to this,
it's
it's 200. Look at
was
the
it that much?
see the right-hand column?
Mhm.
And it's just a question of whether you can find and fund the windows that are needed because they're so specific to that building.
I like your thought process. The Cowell Gym is estimated at 75K. So it would make sense to um, make that the fourth, the Cowell, instead of number two, item four.
Hmm.
I agree. The sewer district is one I mean, it's got to happen. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that.
Yeah, and if we don't get grant money, we're kind of up the creek because there's only 300 ratepayers in the village, and that's a project that I don't think has been done since the sewer system was created in the 1970s. So it's
All right. Does everybody agree that that's the way we'll send it back? Item one or preference one, Memorial Hall. Preference two, the sewer district project. Preference three, the pothole deck. Uh, Item four, the Cowell Gym Energy Block.
that's
Sounds
fine.
good.
Yep, that's good.
Terry, will you send that document back to Mr. Dean?
Absolutely.
I would say there's no harm in keeping the other ones at the bottom of the list. Just,
Mhm.
Yeah, leave them
you
on the
know,
list. It's just not
yeah, right.
perfect. Okay, any other business? Our next meeting is December 15th. I want to bring up under any other business. Uh, Andrew, you mentioned you were out of town. I don't know if you saw my email of earlier today. I sent it to both you separately. If not, I can read it. It's a very short letter. This is a letter that you'll recall. Um, I think we discussed it in a meeting, but the uh, Weston and Sampson project of Dragon Brook study for flooding in the town, and the grant that we received to do it that was being administered by our municipal vulnerability planning coordinator. Um, we had some testers get out doing some survey on people's property, and it was not well received because they had not been notified by anyone that people may be coming through their property. That fell through the cracks due to the issues we all know happened with the last MVP coordinator. And so I asked them to draft a letter that should go out to property owners. They say it's normal process. By the way, the communications factor of this was somebody from the Council of Governments, but they have left. So another reason why this didn't happen. So the letter that I sent um, was uh, I was uncomfortable with it because it implied that there would be town staff asking to go on people's property, and they were looking to have us name a town person to take calls and questions from people who may get this letter. This letter would only go out to town residents where they know they want to look at culvert sizes and so on for their flood study. So I deleted that and changed it to our consultants and uh, asked them to insert in this brief letter the name, phone number, email address of someone from Weston and Sampson. Let them handle that. It's nothing that we don't have anybody to handle it. And they're the ones that are getting paid to do this job. They should be talking to a potential landowner who calls them and says, I got your letter and please don't come to my property, because we've already seen that issue raise its head. And other people who may have legitimate questions about, not that the other isn't legitimate, but legitimate questions about, well, what's happening? What are you going to be looking for? What are you going to be doing?
Mhm.
Let them call them because they know what they're doing, not us, because we don't know what they're going to go out and look for. So This would go out under town letterhead. It's how it was sent to you. But they want to do these studies this month. So we don't want to kick this down the road if we don't have to our next meeting, which is why I'm bringing it up under any other business with short notice. That said, it's very brief. If you haven't received it or had time to look at it, I'll read it for you. Or have you read it?
I have not read it, no.
Okay. Here's what it says. And this was drafted by them, but altered slightly by me. It's under town letterhead. Dear property owner, the town of Shelburne has received funding for a municipal vulnerability preparedness MVP project to better understand and address flooding concerns in our community. As a part of this work, our consultants will be conducting field work along stream channels during the month of December 2025 to collect data points. We are writing to notify you that they may need access to your property to collect measurements and observations along the stream channel. If you have any questions or concerns about this project or property access, please contact, and then it says insert Weston and Sampson person, email, phone. We appreciate your cooperation with this important work to protect our community from flooding. Sincerely, Select Board, Town of Shelburne. And it wouldn't, this would be something we'd send to them if you both agree, or a positive vote on this. We'll send to Weston and Sampson. They will send it out to the property owners. They've already identified where they want to look to be able to complete the study for the execution of the grant.
I guess my only question, well, one very small editorial tweak is where it says our consultants, you might want to put in parentheses Weston and Sampson just to make it crystal clear who the consultant is. But I'm curious, Terry, are we doing this largely because we don't have a MVP coordinator anymore and because FERCog doesn't seem to have any staff in this area?
We're doing it because Weston and Sampson requested that we do it.
No, but
The
I'm not talking about the notification. I'm talking about the feedback loop. Is that would this normally go to you or would it normally go to the MVP
No, it
coordinator
would
as the
go,
contact?
it's a good question. Weston and Sampson contracted with an individual consultant to go out on people's property without any of us knowing. Um, so that was a little bit of a glitch. I don't
Hmm.
know who the proper contact person would be, but it certainly has to be someone that's intimately familiar with this project, what the individual will be doing on your property. That's certainly not anything that Shelburne staff can answer. Um, Trish was probably well versed in this and could have been the point person, but neither she or the FERCog, I forget the term that Allison Gage was named. She was like the
Uh,
community relations
Community
person.
engagement, community
Yeah, and
engagement.
she's no longer there. So we need help identifying who's going to handle this.
And Terry did reach out to the COG, hoping that they can recommend somebody, have somebody to help us because we have exhausted our search for a replacement. We had the emergency management director and he has two groups, as you know, kind of a volunteer sounding board group and then his actual committee looking for somebody to step up. And as Terry just mentioned, you got to know what you're talking about to be of any use in this job. So we're hoping the COG will respond to Terry's communication that just went out today with a recommendation. But
But do
I
I mean, assuming that things were uh, in less flux and they actually had a staff person in place, does the COG, are they kind of the umbrella over the MVP program in the county or not?
I don't believe
not that
so.
I'm aware of.
I'm
I
just
believe
wondering
they
why,
offered,
if Allison was still there, why would she say, yes, I'll do this?
I wished I knew more about how she became involved, but she is somehow, at the time, was partnered in this program. But I
Oh,
don't know
okay.
enough about it to
Oh, so
know.
there was a cog roll in
I
some way.
believe so.
But
Okay.
the
But now we have neither the cog nor Trisha. So,
That's correct.
um,
so we're in a rock and a hard spot. I agree with your comment there, Andrew, about the consultants, but I don't think naming Weston and Sampson makes sense there, because as Terry just explained, they don't, they compile a lot of it, they do some of it themselves, but they subcontract to other consultants to go out and actually do the field work. And that's what this first one that happened that raised a little bit of a kerfuffle. So I think just taking out the word "our" consultants so that it would read, as part of this work, consultants will be conducting field work. Um,
okay. That's, yeah, I understand that more clearly now. I thought it was Weston and Sampson, but I guess I have to express a little disappointment that a group like Weston and Sampson would have subcontracted and not clarified that somebody's got to contact the property owners. And I mean, that just seems like such a standard part of these kinds of studies that have it to miss that is just kind of very surprising to me.
Yep. It
I
could have been
think
what
this,
Allison's role was too. The
yeah,
one,
I think the subcontractor jumped the gun and started before Weston and Sampson was even aware that they were going to go out. But
Oh,
ah,
I agree that maybe the letter should say the consultant and whomever that company is, that maybe that be added once we know who it is, so that if you see a truck pulling up, you'll make the connection that, oh,
hmm.
that would make an assumption that there's only one type of consultant that they're going to hire.
yeah, and I guess we need to find that out from Weston and Sampson. How many people are they hiring to do this work, or how many firms?
That's all interesting information, but it wouldn't impact the purpose or the intent of the goodwill of a letter to say to our landowners,
Mhm.
consultants may want to come on your property to view this. If you have questions or concerns about that, contact Weston and Sampson because they're the people hiring these
Mhm.
one, two, or however many different consultants. So I think the base is covered in the letter, and we can at least get that monkey off our back.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Okay.
I am.
We
So
don't need
I will move that we approve this letter and send it to Weston and Sampson.
I'll second.
moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, put the matter to a vote. Andrew
Aye.
and Rod.
Aye.
And I am I. Motion passes 3-0-0. Um, we're getting there. Hope you're holding up okay, Terry.
Yes, thank
Um,
you.
correspondence. We do have,
Actually, I before you go to correspondence, I just have one question for Terry and the other business. Is that I'm starting to get questions from constituents about the tax rate and why it's going up, and
it's actually
I,
going,
I guess in preparing my general answer to them, my understanding of the process, and please correct me if I have this wrong, is that when we approve the tax rate, we're giving ourselves enough room to create a general estimate of what we think the growth in the budget will be in the coming year, but we don't have a budget yet. So, um, we're just anticipating either general inflation or healthcare inflation or all of that to come up with a ballpark that will give us the ability to construct a budget. Do I have that right?
Well, first of all, the tax rate hasn't been approved yet by the Division of Local Services. The number that Karen mentioned at our last meeting was what she believes it will be, and it's less than the prior year.
No, I know the tax rate went down, but amount of people's
Tax bill
taxes
goes
is
up.
going up.
Yes, yes. And it's based on what our actual spending was at annual town meeting. It's based on anticipated revenues. Um, and it also, I think she said we will still have an excess taxing levy of 500 and some thousand in the event there's some unforeseen expenses. But Karen would probably be the best one to give you a narrative um, if you receive questions. But I think the average tax bill is anticipated to go up about $634.
Right. Yep. Okay, great. No, that's helpful.
Very good. Anything else in any other? Moving on to correspondence. I assume we need to accept this resignation as um, uh, from Tricia as the Municipal Vulnerability Preparedness Coordinator. What a title. Um, she was absolutely positively the best for it, and we understand totally that she needs to step away from this position. So um, I'm sure we all accept this with extreme regret and best wishes.
Agreed.
We need to do nothing other than that, Terry.
That's correct.
Anyone else care to comment other than that?
Only a question, Terry, in terms of the MVP grant that we are now have in the works. Does that, is there reporting on that that will now fall back to you, or where are we at with that?
I honestly am not, I haven't been involved with the project at all until Trish stepped down, and now Weston and Sampson is bombarding me with emails, and I'm not sure. I'm not sure I'll be the one to do that reporting.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, no, I just didn't know where we stood in terms
yeah,
of bringing that to closure.
we're hoping that we can identify someone to step into that role, whether it's someone in the community that has that kind of experience, whether the FERCog has someone that can help, or whether Weston and Sampson will do the reporting. I've got a lot to learn on this project in a short amount of time.
And
Right.
Tricia was very gracious, by the way, when we asked Tom Williams to review his group or groups and see if there's somebody that makes sense to step into this. Tom did the due diligence and did reach out to Tricia. She gave him plenty of time, went over all the details of how complicated it was, and it probably was too much information and scared everybody away because this isn't something that the man or woman on the street can just say, "Oh yeah, I'll take care of this for you." You need some expertise, as Terry mentioned, and we had it with Tricia as a volunteer. And if the COG does have someone that can step in and do this so that it's executed properly, it may have a fee attached to it, and we'd have to figure all that out. So it's a moving target right now, Andrew.
Okay.
I see no public for public comment. I think we're ready for a motion to adjourn.
So
And make
moved.
a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Matter to a vote. Andrew.
Aye.
Rod.
Aye.
And I am I. Motion passes 3-0-0. Thank you for toughing it out, Terry. I
No problem.
hope you can continue to heal well.
Thank you.
Night.
Good
Night,
night.
everybody.
Aye.
Thank you.